Everyone, it is Melissa over at the Whispy Traveler. I'm so glad you guys stopped by today because we're starting a new series. It's a classic chapter book series, and we are starting with the Adventures of Robin Hood. I am so excited about this book. I started reading it in the car to Lucy, and she actually, for a toddler, got pretty hooked on it. So I wanted to share it with you guys too. If you like what you see today, hit like, hit subscribe. Now on to the story. Prologue. Robin Hood becomes an outlaw. Many years ago in England, when good King Henry II sat on the throne, a famous outlaw lived in Sherwood Forest near the town of Nottingham. His name was Robin Hood. No man ever lived who could shoot an arrow like the strong young six-footer with blazing blue eyes. No friends ever lived like the merry fellows who roamed the forest with Robin, playing games of archery and hunting deer. The country people loved to tell the story how Robin became an outlaw. It happened like this. When Robin was 18, the sheriff of Nottingham offered a prize for the best archer in the land. Robin felt sure he could win, so he picked up his best bow and his best arrows and set off to Sherwood Forest. It was springtime, and the flowers bloomed. The birds sang in the trees, which gladdened Robin's heart. He whistled and hummed as he hurried through the woods. Presently, Robin came upon a group of men underneath an old oak tree. A big man wearing an eye patch hailed him. "Hello, little lad. Where are you going with your toy bow and baby arrows?" That made Robin angry. "My bows and arrows are as good as yours," he said. "I'm going to Nottingham town, where I will compete with the other good men for a fine prize." Another man said, "Oh, listen to the lad. Boy, you're too young to grow a beard, but you brag about competing with good stout men? You're too weak to pull a bowstring." Robin grew very angry. "Look yonder at the herd of deer. I'll bet you 300 pounds that I can shoot the strongest buck dead." The man with the eye patch chuckled. "I'll bet you 300 pounds that you don't hit anything." Robin strung his bow and placed the notch of the arrow over the string. Drawing the feather end back to his ear, he aimed and shot. The arrow fled through the air towards the strongest deer in the herd. It leapt and could not dodge the arrow. The deer fell dead to the ground. "Ha!" Robin cried. "How do you like that shot, good fellow? I know what my bet was, and I want my 300 pounds. Furious, the eye patch man roared, "I'll pay you nothing. Get out of here before I beat you until you can't walk." Another man shouted, "You killed one of the king's deer. His men will cut your ears off." "Grab him," cried the third man. "No," argued the fourth man. "Let him go. He's just a boy." Robin said nothing. He turned away and began walking. All would have been well, but the man with the eye patch notched an arrow and aimed at Robin. "I will hurry the boy along," he muttered. Then he loosed his arrow. The arrow missed Robin's head by inches. In self-defense, Robin quickly turned and shot back. "You said I was no archer." "Now say so again," Robin shouted. The arrow fell straight to the man's heart. He fell forward on the ground. Robin ran through the woods as fast as he could. The happiness he had felt earlier was gone. "Oh," he thought, "I wish he had never said one word to me. I wish I had never walked down the path. I will carry this pain with me for the rest of my life." That was how Robin came to live in the forest as an outlaw. A man had died by his hand, and he had poached one of the king's deer. The sheriff of Nottingham himself vowed to catch Robin. Over time, Robin met other men who had fled to the forest. Some have shot deer because their families were starving. Others have been cheated of their land and money. All have been unjustly declared outlaws. Within a year, they had chosen Robin as their leader. They vowed to fight evil men and promised never to harm a child or a woman. People of Nottingham soon learned to trust Robin and his men, praising him and telling him tales of his adventures in Sherwood Forest. Those tales are told to this day. Part 1. Robin Hood matches wits with the Sheriff of Nottingham. Chapter Run. Robin Hood meets his right-hand man. One morning, Robin Hood awoke restless. He ran down to the brook, where his men were washing. "We have had no adventures for 2 whole weeks," he said. "I am going to the forest to see what fun I can find. If I need you, I will blow my bugle 3 times. When you hear that sound, run to it as fast as you can." As Robin set out on his adventure, the birds sang in the trees. He paused storekeepers on their way to Nottingham town. Meeting a pair of pretty girls, he stopped to chat with them. He continued his way and saw a knight in shining armor. The path ended at the edge of the river. The narrow footbridge, just wide enough for a single man, crossed the stream. As Robin stepped onto the bridge, he saw a tall stranger on the other side. "Step aside and let me pass," called Robin Hood. "No," boomed the stranger. "Step aside and let me pass, for I am the better man." "We shall see about that," Robin shouted. "Keep standing where you are, and you'll soon find an arrow sticking through your ribs." The stranger shouted back, "I will tan your hide if you so much as touch the string of that bow." "You bray like a donkey," laughed Robin, "but I can shoot an arrow clean through you faster than you can raise your staff." "You bray like a coward," the stranger retorted. "You stand there with a good bow, while I have nothing but a wooden staff." "I have never been called a coward before," Robin said. "I'll cut myself a staff, and we'll see who the better man is." "Oh ho," the stranger replied. "I'll happily wait for you." He leaned on his staff, whistling, as Robin walked into the forest. Robin cut a strong oak staff, straight and flawless. He stripped away the stems and the leaves. Robin studied his opponent, who stood full head taller, at least 7 feet. Robin's shoulders were broad, but the stranger's were at least 2 palms broader. Still, Robin was sure he would win. "I have my staff, strong and tough," he shouted. "If you dare meet me in the middle of the bridge, the first one to fall in the brook loses." The stranger twirled his staff above his head so quickly that it whistled in the air. "I can't wait." Robin stepped quickly onto the bridge, and he charged at his opponent. He faked a strike at the stranger's body, then aimed a blow at his head. It surely would have tumbled the tall stranger into the water, but he blocked it. The stranger struck back, and Robin blocked that blow. At the end of the hour, each man was bruised and sore. Finally, Robin struck the stranger hard in the rib. The stranger teetered for a second. Then he caught his balance and swung his staff hard at Robin's head. The blow made Robin's ears ring. He grew angry and attacked the stranger, but the stranger blocked and hit Robin again. Robin splashed into the water. As Robin sputtered, the stranger laughed. Robin began laughing too. There's not a man in all of England who can fight like that. The stranger said, "There's not a man in all of England who can take a beating like you did." Robin shook the water from his horn and blew 3 times. In a few moments, he and the stranger heard the sound of men crashing through the woods. Will Sutley arrived first. "Good master, you're wet from head to toe." "That big fellow there," Robin said. "He gave me a beating and dunked me in the water." Then he'll get beaten and dunked himself," said Will. "Get him, boys." 20 men leapt at the tall stranger. No, stop! He's a good, honest man," Robin shouted. "Good fellow, will you join my band of men? Each year you will earn 40 pounds plus 3 suits of Lincoln green." The stranger scratched his head. "I will join you, but only if you can shoot an arrow better than you can fight with a staff." Robin told Will to cut a strip of white bark 4 inches wide and set it on a distant oak tree. "Hit the mark if you call yourself an archer." The stranger took up the bow. "If I miss, you can beat me black and blue with the bowstring." The stranger shot. His arrow fell so straight that it struck the target in the center. "There," said the target. "See if you can do better than that." Robin raised his brow. "We shall see if I do better," he said. He let the arrow fly. It zipped straight through the air and split the stranger's arrow into splinters. "I've never seen a shot like that in my whole life," the stranger explained in wonder. "Then my band has a new member today. What is your name?" The stranger said, "Men call me John Little." Will looked up at the giant man. "John Little?" he laughed. "I think we shall call you Little John." Robin kept Little John at his right hand because he had never met a stronger, braver man.